According to the Institute of Economic Affairs, which is uh, an institute or an organization that normally documents economic activities in the country, not only in Kenya but across the region, states that Matungu, the population of Matungu according to 2019 census is 166,755. So, and this population is almost cut off in the middle, comprising of half men and a half female. And they say 70% of that population comprises of the youth. And for this reason, that statistics is key because it will help us to draw an impetus to what we want to discuss about in this particular show. And so the number of households in Matungu, they are 36,457, probably propelling us to even go further and indicate the average number of households. So the average household size in Matungu is around 4.6, that indicating to around 5 people within a household, and therefore it's a good size. It's a good family. And the other indicator of what we want to talk about is the comparison between the population size versus the land mass of the constituency. So we are told from the same statistical analysis that the land area, for that purpose, it is not so much as it used to be when it comes to the days of when sugarcane was being planted. And for this purpose, the circulation of revenue within Matungu region is very minimal because they have less than 5 markets, and of which those markets depend mostly on agricultural products, of which entirely the supply is not within Matungu. So they get it from either Mount Elgon region or from Kakamega region, or if it is animal products, they get it from either Nyanza region or Busia. And therefore, Matungu as a region is not self-sufficient. Now, the election the by-election of the MP seat in Matungu constituency in 2021 has a great impact on the economic activities of Matungu. And I want to explain only one thing, then the rest maybe we will be able to get some other time to explain maybe in the subsequent shows that we'll be having such a time like this. One, the election has been slotted on March 4th, 2021, and so upon gazettement in December 2020 that the seat fell vacant after the burial of the MP, there are so many activities and more so political activities that are taking place within the region. And this is where we want to focus because those political activities have a direct bearing on the economic activities and therefore the economic status of Matungu constituency at large. Now, the election campaigns have already begun. So far as we speak today, there is a rumor that there are 17 people who are lined up to contest for that particular seat. And as we speak today, there are only 2 political parties that have already given direct nominations to their candidates. And therefore, they are already in the mood of starting to campaign. And so beginning January, the whole of February, it will be entirely a campaign period for that particular region. And so with all the political bigwigs going to support their candidates for them to be able to maybe make a slot in that particular election, there will be disruptions of economic activities. And this is where we want to dwell our talk show today, that Western as a region and so much in Matungu and Mumias as it is, the agricultural calendar has two major seasons. There is what we call the long season and there is the short season. So the long season, which is the most productive season in Matungu, runs from January up to around June. And with the major activities being in January, February, March, and barely in April. But generally, it begins with tilling of land, preparing of the inputs, and so planting, and therefore, with the long rains in March, they begin the process, and up to April now is when now they settle down to prepare for harvest. This is the critical period upon which the people of Matungu need to focus more on their economic activity, which is maize planting. And it is within this particular period that the election campaigns will be in the high gear, therefore disrupting any other activity. And because Kenya being a politically active nation, wherever there is a political activity, it tends to disrupt any other activity. And so it makes people focus more on that particular political activity more than these other activities. And therefore there's a tendency that the Matungu residents would forego any other activity and they will focus more on these election campaigns because they will be engineered by the so-called political bigwigs in the country. That is where there will be a lot of wrestling of the political, the top political controllers within the country. And therefore, the political temperatures within Matungu will be so high that will not allow even those other people to go back to their farms and do farming. And for this reason, economic activity in Matungu constituency will be adversely affected. There is a projection that people will not go to till their farms because every day they will be going out and lining up on the markets for handouts, the 50 shillings, the 100 shillings that will be coming with the politicians, the easy cash. And therefore, people will not tend to focus more on their land and their agricultural activities. The second thing will be that there will be a political hyped temperatures which will disrupt or which will interfere with the security, and so people will fear to go about with their businesses even at night because of fear of the political insecurity that will be facing the electorates. And for this reason, drawn from history, the economic status of Matungu, as it were, it will even go further deep down than the way it is today. And that's why we are saying that if there are people who care, if the leadership of Matungu care about their people, they would advise their people to regulate the political activities more so maybe in the afternoons, not as it were that people wake up in the morning and start politicking. And so because of that kind of scenario, there is a tendency that even schools will be disrupted because automatically schools provide grounds through which people come and gather. So the schooling will be disrupted, farming activities will be disrupted, the economical circular flow of income within Matungu will be disrupted. So after 4th, there will be a lot to be done to reinstate back Matungu to its required position, which in most cases it will not be. Because the MP elect will need like 3 to 6 months to settle down, and upon which you will have the other election campaigns for the BBI and all that. So there is a projection that Matungu is going to even deeper, more in poverty levels than the way it is today. My advice to the leadership of Matungu is that if they care about the residents of Matungu, they should regulate the campaigns so that they let people go about their economic activities during morning hours, and probably maybe in the afternoons is when they will allow political candidates to do their campaigns. even though I know it is a bit difficult, but they should pass about this message. I want to call upon all the mass media, the radio station, the local radio stations like this one, and others that normally within the region, to educate the masses, to educate their people that even though it is their civil right to listen to the candidates that will be coming and participate in this political um, activity that is ahead of them, but they should not forget that after the elections, they will require food, they will require money to take their children to schools, they will require the livelihoods to continue, and that particular person they will have been campaigning for or listening to and is therefore elected will not be there to help them. So my plea to them is that even though it has been slaughtered and it can't be changed, it is my prayer that the interruptions within Matungu's economic activities will be very minimal. And it is my prayer that we who have come up and now we are able to even notice the trends, talk to the authorities, and pass across and shape the opinions of the masses within Matungu, will take upon ourselves to advise the residents of Matungu that yes, it is okay for them to go and participate in the political activities because it is their right, their constitutional right. But it is also upon them to take charge of the political, of the economic activities of Matungu. If I draw from history, one of the viewers has asked, this is the fourth MP that Matungu will be electing, starting from the first one in 1997, now to 2002. Activities have a direct bearing on the economic activities and therefore the economic status of